Welcome back to Fire to Fork, and this is Sustainable Dog Tricks with Fred. No, I like to give him water bottles I find on the beach, and he unscrews the lid and then plays with them. God. His name's Fred, his name's Brian the Prado, and today I'm going to be talking about what's happening with the Prado. Oh, actually, first things first, make everyone happy. Fred has water. There you go, all good. Now, I was going to not pull out my awning for the first time ever, but it's the wet season and it's doing exactly what it says in the packet, and it is being wet, so I'm going to quickly whip that out. Well, I hope my camera's going to be okay. I'm going to go put something over it. Yes, I'm putting a pot over you. Sorry, I've just been rained out too many times to give up again. I'm going to try filming in a little bit of rain. So, today I'm going to go through... first of all, the 10-year tourer. What is it? So, this is part 3 of the 10-year tourer. The 10-year tourer is a build series of my 2020 VX Prado. In this series, I go through the way I'm going to modify my car with each item having to pass one simple test, and that is, will it last 10 years? I live in the Kimberley, therefore I don't want to have stuff that breaks on me, and I do a lot of remote touring, so each accessory is going to be rigorously thought about and chosen with reliability in mind as the absolute first priority. Now, the only exceptions to that 10-year rule are stuff like tyres, belts, hoses, normal maintenance items, battery. That stuff doesn't have to last 10 years, but everything else should. Now, in the last couple of episodes, there have been things on my car that obviously I haven't talked about yet. So now, the most obvious of which is a roof rack. Now, the reason I haven't talked about that roof rack yet is because simply it wasn't finished until today, and that is a stocking issue. You'll notice in the last episodes it was a flat rack. Now it has expedition rails. Now the roof rack is a front runner, so it's one of their modular flat racks with the optional expedition rails. It has this wind deflector. The wind deflector is really nicely designed, actually. It's got a flexible rubber lip. It is flexible to an extent, and they put a piece of PPF film over which is paint protective film, clear PPF, sorry, over the top of the roof, so that piece of rubber actually contacts the roof but doesn't damage it, which I really like. First impressions are that it is extremely quiet, but now I really wanted to show you exactly how we put it on. However, I'm a moron, and there are two segments in this, the roof rack and talking about the interior seat covers, that I accidentally wiped my cards thinking I'd put this stuff all on my hard drive, and I hadn't. I've lost all the footage. So I'm just going to have to go through it with you today and do the best I can. The roof rack was fitted by Lifestyle 4x4 by one of my favourite people, Rhiannon. And I know anyone who knows Lifestyle 4x4 would have thought I was about to say Steve. Steve is the owner, and Steve's an absolute legend. I really, really like Steve, and Steve helped me out massively by fitting me in when they didn't have any room at all, like they were completely booked out. But Rhiannon, who's his head mechanic, is Alex from Intense's girlfriend, and she is an absolute legend. I've known her for years, and it was complete coincidence that she was the person who was fitting it, but I was absolutely stoked, and we had a great time, and I made inappropriate jokes about her rack, which is it made more sense in context. I'm sorry, probably didn't sound right. Now, the reason that I didn't put this fit up until now was because I was waiting for the expedition rails, but more importantly, I was waiting for another little accessory, and I'm going to show you that accessory now. Now, you may, so in my cooking episodes, I mentioned that my setup wasn't complete, and it wasn't complete for one reason. This is the Frontrunner Pro stainless table. and it is solid as anything. It is obviously stainless. It looks like it's sort of a powder coated metal around the edge, which I assume is a stainless as well. Yep, it's stainless. I've already chipped it because I'm me and I'm rough on my gear. I've used one of these a few times and I just loved it. And I was like, oh my God, this is the dream. Having a table like that slides in the roof for someone who cooks out of the back of their car a lot is just like, it doesn't get any better. So this is what I was talking about the other day, by the way. I do give Fred water, but he really likes to just drink out of the hose for fun because it's much more fun than drinking out of his water bowl. I have stainless tables. I have this table here, this K-On one, which is awesome. And for 90% of people, I'd say this is the one that you would most likely buy because it's inexpensive, it's off the shelf, and it's easy to install. Sorry, the bugs here are ferocious. I have this table here. Which is custom made, amazing, and I love it. It also has a leg, which stays in here. This is made by ProCamp Solutions, but again, you know, that's a pretty sort of far out there one. So you might think, well, like, what the hell does he need another table for? Well, I can really only use this or this most of the time. The problem is that when this is out, in my particular setup, it's very hard for me to get to the drawers with this down. I can barely fit. And then there are the bottom two drawers I can't open properly with that down. Now, that is a very isolated issue to my particular setup. So I knew that when I was going into it, I knew that I wouldn't be able to access the drawers as well with that table. So this table might seem pointless. It's not at all. This table is my serving table. So once everything's done, I go boom, 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 because I'll always have crap on that. I'll have crap on this. To be able to serve stuff on that is amazing. Also, when there's just two of us, I can get the things out I need, drop them on there, slide this out and prepare on the, anyway, you get the idea. What I wanted was a lot of modularity, but this is my rock solid beast for doing most of my food prep. So I'm not going to lie, it's expensive. It's an expensive table, but most stainless stuff is. The fact that it slides underneath my roof rack and doesn't take up any effective real estate, it is amazing. It weighs a touch more than a solar panel. It's about 15 kilos, and the solar panel I used to have on there was about 12. Speaking of solar panels, there is actually one on the roof now. There's also a MaxTrax bag, which I got from Grab Me Gear, which is basically a canvas bag which I've zip tied to the roof rack. And hold on a second, I'm just going to get my thermocell out because this is a bit of a nightmare. If you're in a tropical and buggy environment and you don't have a thermocell, you're missing out. It's the best thing in the world. Unless you have a cat or a fish, apparently they're toxic to them, neither of which I have. Now, you might be thinking, okay, cool, so he's bought a roof rack purely because of a table. That's a bit of a dumb reason. Most of us can just chuck a Bunnings table on the roof. No, not true actually. The reason I picked this roof rack was modularity. And it has been both the best and the worst thing in my experience about adding this roof rack. There are a lot of pieces. To put it together took a little bit of time. I did it myself in the backyard. It's one of those things that is well worth putting the effort into because I, for example, only have expedition rails on that side. I've only got 3 rails. What other roof rack that is a single welded piece can you just say, oh yeah, can I just spec it with 3 rails? Oh, also, what I'd like it to be lightweight at the front because I've only got a solar panel at the front and therefore I don't need lots and lots of rails. But at the back, I'd like extra heavy duty because that's where I carry my firewood. Name me a rack that you can do that with. That's like, as in a welded rack. As well as has the table, as well as, I mean, the number of accessories for this thing are through the roof. So if you look at my rack, the back few rails are doubles. Then there's a Max Trax bag. Then there's a solar panel. It's entirely designed for me. From everything from the table to the extra rails to the side rails to the actual number of slats on it is exactly as I wanted it. And that was extremely appealing. So now for some of you, you might say, well, I don't have that kind of awning, I don't have this, I don't have that. I have something else instead. I want to, spec it to this kind of rooftop tent. I want to have this kind of awning. I want, whatever. You can modularize, I don't know. You can use the different modules to create the spec you want. And that's exactly what I've done. And I'm so bloody happy with it now. Now, noise. My old roof rack made a hell of a lot of noise. You right, mate? Because it was that mesh and it didn't have the wind deflector and it had large rails and stuff. So it was very loud. I mean, my whole car was loud, but the roof rack was noticeably loud. This thing, when I put it on, I noticed 1 decibel in sound difference. Now, what I haven't actually talked about is throughout this build, I've been using a decibel thing on my phone, which is not very scientific, but here are basically the specs. My old 80 series fully spec'd at 110 was 86 decibels. This one standard was 62 decibels. This one with everything on it at 110, including something on the roof, 67 decibels. Now, 86 to 67 might not seem like much of a gap. Ask anyone who knows about audio, that's a big difference. Audio decibels kind of do that. Like the difference between 110 and 120 decibels is not the difference between, 30 and 40. That's not very noticeable, but yeah, it really ramps up. So, anyway, this is significantly quieter, and honestly, adding all this extra stuff, the loudest thing in the car are still the tires. And since the last episode, I've decided that muddies were the right call because I've gone through a lot of mud and they've been exceptional. It's the wet season in the Kimberley. In fact, the only thing I really am missing is a snorkel. So, before everyone asks, Bush Company 270 XT awning. Mounted on there, I use 4 mounts. It is extremely strong. Not many awnings you can do that with. So 4 mounts is overkill, but I just wanted to make it rock solid because it's attaching to an alley rack. They have quite a lot of flex, so I wanted to put extra mounts on it just so that it spreads that out evenly over the rack. Now, what's next? Hold on, let me look at my phone. Next, unfortunately, this is the bit where I lost all of the footage of me going to get it. But it's also extremely important, and I really, really, really want to run you through it. My seat covers. I called a number of companies about seat covers, about canvas, Australian made, good quality seat covers. I only wanted Australian canvas. Used them before and they're just bulletproof. They've got a fantastic reputation in the mining industry and the agricultural industry, and in my personal experience, Australian made canvas seat covers are beautiful. Now there are a few different companies that make them. I called a couple of them, and my car's complicated. Because of the ventilated seats, so it's basically got an air conditioner in the seats and a heater. A lot of companies said, no, we can't put our canvas ones on. Would you like a denim? Would you like a cloth? Would you? No, not really. I really want a canvas, like a perforated canvas or something. And that was because of basically lack of R&D and lack of understanding in a lot of cases. Some people just said, yeah, no, just put them on anyway. But I was like, do they work? And they're like, oh, I'm sure they'll be fine. I'm like, no, but do they work? I don't want to just put some stuff on that doesn't work. Finally, I called this company called Superfit. Now, the way I did this was not me trying to find a sponsor, it was me trying to find a good seat cover. As it happens, Superfit did provide the seat covers, but it was, I had already ordered them, then I explained what I was doing, and they said, yeah, we'd actually like to just give you the seat covers if you can let everyone know which ones you bought. Sure, no worries. So when I spoke to Superfit, they went, oh, okay, cool. So you've got a VX? I said, yeah. I said, all right, so it's got the ventilated seats. Yep, well done. I went, all right, cool. No, these work perfectly with ventilated seats, but the way that we get them to work even better, number one, to make the ventilated seats work better, and number two, to stop the moisture wicking out of the leather, which I'd never thought about. When you put canvas over leather, it will actually wick the moisture out and they will become dry and crack, unless you pull them off and moisturize them regularly, which I'm not going to do. I know me. I'm not going to be pulling my seat covers off. I'd be like, oh, the seat's fine underneath. They have a foam insert underneath the seats the whole way, seat covers the whole way over them, that basically provides an air gap that helps the ventilation work better, and provides a gap to basically trap the moisture into the seats, which is fantastic because the seat covers are waterproof. I get in them wet all the time because I go to the beach every day with this guy. You can see how many bugs there are by how nuts he's going. Talking to Superfit compared to talking to the other companies was like talking to a toddler compared to an adult. It was such a different experience. Like, I'm not going to mention the other companies. I don't want to bag anyone out. I just want to say that I was shocked when I called Superfit, purely because of how good they were. So yeah. Now, I better show you them, hey? I was going to give the car a really good clean and show you these things immaculate. I'm sure that the companies involved would love me to do that. But I thought I'd show you why I got seat covers. That is a crash mat. This is what I use basically to cover all the stuff down here. This stuff I leave here because Fred sits in the back seat and he's too big to stay on this. When he lies down sideways, he's pretty well the whole width. So I chuck a mat over there to sort of give him a little bit of extra real estate. But underneath, the things get filthy. Yeah, that's the reality of having a dog in a wagon, is that stuff's just going to get filthy. Now the front looks fantastic. Oh, and this is a really, really nice feature. I think they charge something like $25 for this, but you'll love this, is the embroidered seat covers. Isn't that great? It was, of course, painful to get rid of leather to make room for canvas, but as I said, I get in these things so often and it would have killed me even more to ruin the leather. Now I should actually show you, it's kind of fun what happens when you get in the car, turn it on, and the air conditioners turn on. They fill up like a balloon. Isn't that cool? So something you likely don't know about this car is that this actually has a clear wrap on it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you over to Auto Armour, who are now called Auto Hub. They've changed their name since this video, and well, let's go and have a look what happened. So I'm just down here at one of my new favourite places. Oh no, not that shithole. No, I'm just over here at Armour Hub. Oh God, I need to get out of here. Sorry, I've clearly parked in the wrong spot. That paint on that car is way too flash. I'm definitely going to ruin it. So I thought, well, I can either get a white paint and ruin it less obviously, or I can get the paint I really want and do something about it. Now, I called around to get some quotes for getting a PPF, or paint protection film. I've read about ceramic coatings and I've spoken to a few people. Apparently they're quite good, but they just don't really last that long. Is that sort of your experience?
Yeah, I guess it really depends what you're trying to protect it from, but yeah, chalk and cheese really.
Yeah. And so ceramic coating's roughly $800 to $1,000, depending on what you get, and you get maybe 6 months out of it. This company here, Bush Wraps, they're a bunch of girls on the East Coast, and they've come up with basically a much more affordable option, and for PPF. Now, it's not going to be your 10-year super high quality PPF, but it is going to give you, they reckon, easily a couple of years. So that's what I'm just going to test it. I'm going to see what it's like because I wanted to do something that wasn't going to be four and a half to six and a half grand, depending on
Which and
how detailed you want to get. You got to pull all the trim off. You got to pull door handles off. You got to there's a lot that goes into it.
Of course.
Well, how long does it take you to wrap a car?
To do a full paint protection film, would normally light the car for about 5 days. Yeah.
There you go. So this kit is a DIY kit. I'm crap at DIY stuff usually, especially when it comes to being precise and this. Like I know me. I know I'll rush it. So Carl's agreed to wrap the car for me. Now this kit comes with everything that we're going to need. All you need to buy is basically a little scraper and some baby shampoo. Weirdly enough, I'll zoom in on this in a sec, but it shows you where on the car it fits and covers. This kit, $570. That's the price of a detail, basically. If this lasts me a couple of years, that is the cheapest option ever. Now, as you can see in the photo, it doesn't cover the wing mirrors and it doesn't cover the bonnet. The wing mirrors stick out the furthest, so that's one thing I am going to get with like a 10-year or what do you have here? You got 3M?
Yeah, for sure. So
yeah. So we're going to try and get some 3M on the wing mirrors. And what's that rough approximate cost to get the wing mirrors?
Normally looking around $70 a piece. Yeah.
Amazing. So for basically the price of 2 details, this thing will be protected for a couple of years, pretty comfortably.
With the peace of mind, I guess, once it's removed, you're pristine underneath.
Yeah. This is a self-healing, so you can put heat on it, or put a heat gun on it, or just live in the Kimberley and park the thing outside.
Takes care of itself.
It'll sort itself out. But I reckon we get down there, start wrapping it, and see if we can keep this thing looking pretty. And thanks to everyone at the Four Drive Show who wrote their names in the dust on my fresh new paint. That was really nice of you. I really appreciated that. So I didn't even want the car to look good. All right, let's get down there. Huh?
Cool.
All right, mate. That was, well, okay. If we do a before and after, the only difference is this. But I reckon I'm going to play a little montage to show exactly what did happen.
Sure.
Now, as you can see, there's a lot that went into that. So we've got door handles wrapped, the wing mirrors wrapped, the whole bush wraps kit is on. Unfortunately, the bush wraps kit was actually the wrong spec. It was for the previous model. So all the side panels are the same. Just this little bit here was different.
Had to get a bit creative.
Yeah, had to get a bit creative. So that's been done with a different PPF, and there's a different strip of PPF across the front. Mate, it looks awesome, but it also looks like the same. But yeah, I guess that's kind of the point, is I'm not trying to change the look of it, except for the signage.
That's typically how we know we've done a good job, is if you can't tell it's on there. So.
Yeah. Now, there are some little bubbles in it right now, and they just go away like in a few days.
Bit of heat, bit of time.
Yep. Heat won't be an issue. So, which is perfect. So, now if you were to get, how long do you reckon it took to do the bush wraps kit?
I'd say, probably took us about 2.5 man hours.
Yep.
2 guys.
Yep. Cool.
And probably in terms of, I guess, costings that people probably want to know, I'd say there's probably 250 to $300 for the install, somewhere around there.
Awesome. And look, if we probably go like with all the extra bits, what do you reckon? Like,
I guess because it's a different material to the bush wraps kit that we used,
Yeah.
probably $70 per mirror, and probably around 180 to 200 for the bonnet strip.
Okay, cool. So we're all up, we're talking about probably roughly $1,000-ish, including the bush wraps kit, to do. So that's 2 details. If this lasts a couple of years, that's seriously good value, because this is going to protect your car so much more than getting it detailed after it's been scratched.
And there's only so many times you can cut and polish the car back to.
That's it. Yeah. No, mate. For me, that's a bargain. That's a genuine bargain. You can do a lot of those in your time.
Yeah.
The other thing is, with these bush wraps kits, you can actually get replacement panels. So, if you do bugger one up, that's fine. They are a bit easier to scratch than the more expensive PPF like we've got on the front. We've noticed that when we're installing it, there's like a few little marks. Chucked a heat gun on them, it self-heals. So that's the point of all this, is that you can scratch it and it will self-heal afterwards. So, no, the signage looks awesome, the wrap kit looks awesome, and the tint, as I showed you before. Now, I live in a hot place, I live up north. My car is dark blue. I'm trying to reduce the heat in there as best I can. I know I'm picking a stupid colour for that, but you got to do those little 1%ers. Also get pretty sick of getting what we call driver's arm, which is arm on the side, and you get really dark one arm and not the other. As you can see, I've had tint in my car for a long time. Now, this is a piece of clear glass, and this stuff's called Octane 35, and this is kind of the lower end of tinting. So you can see the temperature difference here is 8.3 degrees, so between here and here, compared to this, the difference is 14.3 degrees. Cool. In other words, so this one's 38.5 and that one's 44.2 degrees in there. If I stick my hands in here, there's a bit of a difference. This is definitely hotter. That one's, it definitely makes a difference. Not huge. Then I tried this one. It's called Spectra 35, and it's a ceramic tinting. Chuck this one in a little box. Let it rip. Give it a few seconds. Stick my hand in. This one feels like I'm getting sunburnt. This one is basically cold. They're both the same darkness, but the UV cut, like that, I pretty much can't leave my hand in there much longer, like that's getting really hot. This is cold. The difference is pretty dramatic. So it was kind of a no-brainer. I looked, they're showing all the different options. You can get like really dark ones and stuff, but I don't want really dark. I need it to be legal. Like it needs to go over the pits for the GB upgrade and all that kind of stuff. And anyway, I want this car to be legal. No-brainer. Definitely getting this. So that's just going on the front windows because the back is already black glass. I might do the backs later on, but again, because of the pits, it won't get past if I have any more tint on there because it's already basically dark as legal black glass. And then we'll see how we go. But that's going to help a lot. That's awesome. Like that's going to cut so much heat out of it, and it looks fantastic, and it's legal. So no, I'm stoked with it. Mate, couldn't be happier. I'm just bloody excited about getting it back on the road, looking this good. All right, well, on to the next one. So, as you can see, the car looks normal. It looks totally normal. I would show you close up, but honestly the thing is filthy. It looks up close like there are a couple of little lines, but of where you can see the edge of the wrap. But overall, this wrap is easier to clean. It's been really good. Like I've actually pinstriped the whole thing. I'm so annoyed I didn't get footage of it, but I did actually pinstripe the whole thing. And every time one of my mates asks, I go, "Oh yeah, cool," and I just scratch it with my nail, and they all go, "Ugh," and then you can't tell anymore. It is definitely a bit easier to scratch than the hardcore PPF that I've got on the front here, but it's also 1/10 of the price and does heal up really well. So, you know, swings and roundabouts, it's a really, like I've recommended this to several of my mates. I really do think it's a fantastic product. And then, how good does that look? One thing I would note, used to stay established 2017 there. Yeah, high pressure spray, I took pretty good care of that. I was supposed to let it sort of stay and set for a little bit longer, but I just kind of washed it the next day, and yeah, my bad. The tint has been fantastic. This thing feels much cooler inside than my old car, even though my old car had dark tint all the way around. It's just overall amazingly, despite this darker color than the old one, it's actually, yeah, it just stays cooler, which I really didn't expect. I'm shockingly impressed by the tint. So yeah, very well done. Now the last thing you'll notice is, yes, I'm officially a wanker. I got custom plates, fire to fork. I actually hate it when people spell it fire number 2 fork, but FTF was taken. So yeah, custom slimline plates. I'm generally actually not a fan of custom plates. Sorry to say, don't mean to offend anyone. It's just personal preference. But I hated the way the car looked with a big white plate with, you know, bright blue writing and stuff. I just think it looks a lot more sleek and simple. I'm a bit of a minimalist when it comes to the exterior of a car. That's why there are no stickers on my cars. There was one sticker on my old car, it said Broom, there was a Band-Aid obviously, and then there's a Broom Fishing Club sticker, and the reason for that is because apparently Car Thieves and Broom go for cars that don't look local. So if you have an interstate plate and like a bland car, that is like #1 target for Car Thieves and Broom. So I thought, oh, I'll put a local sticker on there, and that's the only reason I did that. Also because the Broom Fishing Club is awesome, best place for a beer in Broome, highly recommend it. I really didn't want to put this bit in the video, but I think it's important to do so. So here goes. At 111 kilometers an hour, which I know is technically speeding, my car throws a code, and when I say throw a code, I mean I get basically a Christmas tree of lights in the dash, and it's really annoying. It doesn't stop me from driving anywhere, it doesn't stop me from doing anything. The only thing it stops me from is using my cruise control, which is annoying because it's a really good cruise system. When I reach that speed, my car throws a code, and that code is low oil pressure. Now I know that because I've got a code scanner, and I have seen it throw this code maybe 8 times. On the way up from Perth, I was testing it, and I was like, okay, let's try 112, 113, and then went back, and I was 111, 110. At 110, it was perfect, and 111, it would throw the code. Very strange, don't know why. Anyway, sorry for speeding, but we're not talking about a huge amount out. Anyway, I took my car to Broome Toyota, and I didn't tell them anything. I just said, look, car's throwing this code, throwing some sort of a code, and I just said, you're the mechanics, I'm not going to try and influence you and how to fix this. Can you please have a look at it? Yep, sure. Take it in. They took it back, came back, and they said, look, your headlight leveling sensors are disconnected on the rear bumper, and that's causing all of your issues. And I was like, okay, well, they're on the rear bumper, do you say? Like, yeah, 2 plugs connect to the rear bumper. I was like, look, that is me. Like, I took the rear bumper off and to install the tow bar. So they said, yep, well, that's the issue. And I said, okay, so that's causing all the codes. And they were like, yeah, just the one code. There's only one code in it. It's all to do with your radar. They hook into your radar, and they adjust everything. I said, so there's no other codes at all. It's definitely not like a low oil pressure code. And they were like, no, 100% not. It's like, okay, like, because it's a pretty common problem. I've heard a lot about this low oil pressure thing. No. Definitely not. That's not a known issue. It's your back bumper thing. I was like, look, okay, cool. They're like, also that's $400. So it's like, okay, yeah, fair enough. Look, I did screw up, and they said, yeah, because of those being disconnected, we have to recalibrate the radar and everything. All right, fair enough. Pay me $400. It seems a bit rich, but what can I do? You kind of got me by the short and curlies here. Now, next, so I take it for a drive, and what do you know? It throws the code again. Goes back into, see your dealer mode. Can still drive the car perfectly, all that stuff. take it back in, and I said to them, all right, cool, what's happened again? They go, oh, must be something to do with your radar again. I was like, okay. I should also point out, I didn't clear the code at any point. My code scanner can clear it, but I've never cleared it. Never cleared any codes in this car. So my radar is here. So they came out and they said, look, it's giving us a dirty radar warning. And I was like, really? Because I've had a dirty radar warning before, and it was when a dragonfly hit it and it was covered in shit. So I cleaned it, and then it goes, yep, cool, your radar's clean, thank you very much, and carries on as normal. It doesn't go into limp mode or anything like that. That doesn't happen when you have a dirty radar. So they said, yep, so I've just cleaned your radar and you should be all good to go. And I was like, okay, just want to be clear, no other codes thrown. Like, no, definitely not. So I said, all right, well, can you just go and double check that definitely no other codes were thrown? Yep, sure, go and check. Yep, 100%, only code thrown was that. It's like, okay, I've got a code scanner, so I want you to go back a third time and actually ask the technician, this is 100% the only code, because I know all the codes it's thrown. That was a different conversation. Comes back out, I go and see the service manager, and he goes, yep, okay, look, these are all the codes. And I was like, okay, cool, what are you doing about those? And he goes, well, they're irrelevant. I said, well, the only consistent one it's been throwing, and I've told you this a couple of times, is the low oil pressure code. He goes, yeah, no, that's not it. It's all about your radar. Okay. So what are we doing about low oil pressure code? Because that is the thing that's actually throwing it into limp mode. When I say limp mode's a strong word, it doesn't actually do anything. Like, it doesn't reduce the car's power. It says reduce engine power. It made no difference. And he goes, yeah, well, no, that's not a known issue, so, like, don't worry about it. And I was like, look, I don't know how to say this, but I just want you to be aware that everything that happens to this car is all part of a YouTube series. It's got a fair few people watching. There's about 35,000 at this stage, and but the videos are being watched by 60,000 in the first couple of weeks. Like, this is going to be quite well exposed. So I said, all I'm asking is you put your best foot forward and really try and sort this issue out, because it'll reflect really well on you guys if it's done well. Now, this is no kind of a threat. This is or me asking for something because of the number of people watching this channel. This is purely, I don't want to sneak up on someone and corner them and try and be misleading and be like, oh yeah, I'm just your average Joe. Definitely not going to jump on YouTube and talk all about this. I thought I want to make clear that I'm going to talk about this on YouTube. And he goes, look, that's fine. I'm not going to handle it any differently. We're doing the best we can. And I was like, now at this stage, I've asked if it threw a low oil pressure code 6 times, and every single time I was told, absolutely not, that's not a problem, low oil pressure codes are definitely not being thrown. And every single time I was told, and every single time it had thrown that code. Also a bunch of codes there that weren't actually being thrown, that they told me were being thrown. So, I'm not an expert in this area. I've never had a brand new car. I've never had to take it to a dealership. I'm sorry, I'm just butting this into the story, but I need to mention that since dropping the car off, they did actually call Toyota. Took them a few days. They came back and they said, look, your car needs a software update. There's an incorrect parameter in the ECU for the low oil pressure. It's a known issue. There's a bulletin about it, and we're waiting for the update. Whether that has anything to do with the fact that I had to push this hard and had to go to the extent of actually saying, having my own code scanner and saying it's going to be on YouTube, I don't know. But that's where we're at. I'm going to let you tell me, am I sort of overreacting to what's happened? I'm not particularly happy, I'll tell you that. Am I overreacting? Do I have a criminally poor understanding of the mechanics and the electronics in this car? Did they do everything right? Is it much more likely that it is in fact a radar and that I just don't know what the hell I'm talking about? I'm going to let you come back to me and tell me that, because I don't want to get into it. I don't want to influence you one way or the other. You can just tell me. what I can say is I don't think I'll be going back to that dealership. Anyway, I hate to end a video on that sort of sour note. I hate adding this kind of negativity in my videos, but as I said before, what's the point of having a YouTube channel with lots of viewers if you're not going to put it out there? So thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.